Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you to Elombah Television tonight. It is another in our series of interviewing aspirants from all the political parties that seek the consent of Anambra people to be their governor in November 2021. Our guest tonight is Dr. Amobi Nwokafor. Dr. Nwokafor, you are welcome to our program. Right. So can you please tell us about yourself now?
Okay, I'm Dr. Amobi Nwokafor. I have a PhD in strategic management, a master's degree in banking and finance, and a BSc in accountancy.
That's a full bag of academic degree.
Anambra State, Nigeria, and I belong to various professions, including arbitration, mediation, and so on.
Right. Can you please tell us the schools you attended, if you don't mind? Primary school, secondary school, university? That would be nice.
Okay. I attended Agloka Primary School. I attended the Comprehensive Secondary School, Northia, in Anambra State. I went to University of Nigeria. I read accountancy. I have BSc in accountancy. I did my master's degree in banking and finance at Delta State University, Abraka, and my PhD in strategic management at Babcock University, Ogun State. I run a firm of chartered accountants, and I'm based in Lagos. I'm married, happily married with children.
All right. So it's nice to see you here to discuss your ambition to be the governor of Anambra State. So let us ask, when did you first get involved in partisan politics?
This is the first time I'm getting involved in partisan politics. Before this time, I was President General of Oka Development Union worldwide. And that is actually what gave me the impetus to consider coming into politics. After seeing the need of our people and a good man to come up and attempt to solve them. Like, I have the belief that human problems are made by man and equally solvable by man. So, if you have prepared yourself, you can venture and sort things out and redefine your environment and make your own contribution to the progress of where you come from and for the progress of humanity.
All right, so this is the first time. Are you saying that the APC is the first political party you have ever joined in Nigeria? Is that what you're telling us, sir?
Yes.
And
that's correct.
And you joined when? Last year, 2 years ago, or this year? We want to know, please.
Okay. In spirit, I have always been a member of APC ever since APC came to being. But on record, I registered for the first time with APC in 2017. And I became active from that date to today.
Okay, that's very good. My first question will be, before we go into your program, will then be, do you think that having this being your first time of actively engaging in partisan politics, that you are well prepared to assume the mantle of Anambra State Governor?
Yes, it is the effort to prepare myself that delayed my journey in politics. Because part of the problem we have on governance today is people who are not prepared for leadership coming on board and offering themselves to serve when they know fully that they don't have what it takes to serve the society and offer what we call service above self.
But don't you think that to be a governor of Anambra State, that you need political experience?
Come again?
Don't you think, sir, that to be the governor of Anambra State, you need political experience? Anambra State is a very difficult state to govern.
You see, throughout my life, first of all, you know that I'm from Anambra State.
Yes, sir.
And I'm also from Oka, the capital of Anambra State. The fact that you don't join a political party does not mean that you don't participate in politics, because you are part of the system, you are part of the society. Everything that happened today or has happened yesterday affected you, affected me one way or the other. And you have opinion about them. You have solutions. Just because you have not declared your interest in partisan politics does not mean that you are not experiencing, as you are growing up, as you are living in your society, as you're observing what is going on, and as you are preparing yourself. The point is, once you are in a society and you are active in that society, you determine when to join, especially when to join to change the system, to redefine the narrative, to redefine the structure and the environment of your society. So I blame people who are not prepared, who are just going into politics for economic gains. For me, politics should be service. If you are not ready, you are not ready. There's no need going to offer yourself for that kind of service, for that level of service. For today, as of today, I prepared myself, and I can bet you that that hunger to serve is greater in me than any other person.
All right, so I've looked at your resume. I see you have held a number of directorship of some companies, including banks, industries. So what will you consider your biggest achievement in life?
You know, I believe that humanity is one. Anywhere you find yourself, there is an element of service, whether big place or small place. I can beat my chest today that I have assisted a lot of companies who are in position today to employ 5,000 people, 2,000 people, and so on and so forth. I nourish them from, from embryo to a level where they can, compete favorably with any industry, with any company in the same industry. So my greatest happiness today is that when I look at these companies, whether I'm getting something out of it or not, I'm happy because I have contributed through them to employ our teeming population, to engage our youth through employment, through training, and so on and so forth. I myself left a job after very few years and set up my firm of chartered accountants. And as of today, I'm equally happy that I am contributing positively to the development of the human capital in the state and the human resources throughout Nigeria through my effort as a consultant and as a professional accountant.
That's very good. So what do you consider to be the most important problem facing the ordinary Anambra today, the Anambra man? The most important problem facing Anambra?
We cannot feed ourselves. That's problem number one. We cannot employ ourselves. That's problem number two. We have not developed the individuals. We have not developed the succession plan of personality development, so that if, for instance, I die today, who succeed me? In our political landscape today, how many people do we have on the queue who are strong personalities, to carry the messages of Anambrians to the national level? How many strong personalities, strong characters do we have? So there are a lot of problems. But going by your question, the major challenges today is that we cannot feed ourselves.
So if we cannot feed ourselves, how do you intend to solve that problem, sir? The inability of the Anambra people to feed themselves. How do you intend to solve the problem?
Yeah, that will take us to agriculture. During the time of Sheikh Shagari, they talk about green revolution that identified that man must first feed himself before he will be in a position, to contribute positively to other developmental areas, of our national economy. So the first thing is to look at Anambra State. We are very lucky that we are in a talk to ourselves and till the ground and develop agriculture, farm in a large scale, and ensure that we feed ourselves.
But to farm in such a large scale need capital. Does the Anambra man have the capital to farm in a large scale?
Yes. That is why people like me decided to join this race, because you must have heard what is called partnership. Anambra State have individuals that are everywhere in the world. Strong personalities, wealthy personalities who have made mark in their various areas of specialization. So we have people, it's just what they are looking for is for a good man to drive the vehicle of development, to drive the vehicle of agricultural and farming environment that we have. Then they will decide to back up that individual who is supposed to be a good man, like I considered myself. So we have people.
Okay, but some other people who come to this program say that security should be the most important problem facing us today. Do you agree that we have a very big security problem in Anambra State? What do you think, sir?
I don't know, you probably have a doctor friend. If you have headache, he will tell you that, look, this headache you are having is a symptom, is a manifestation of something wrong somewhere in your system. This security problem you are seeing, from my point of view, is a reflection of the decadence of our society, a reflection of our inability to feed ourselves, a reflection of our inability to engage our youths in gainful employment. So security, you see, is not a problem per se. So if you cut off the root causes, what are the issues what are the factors that are causing insecurity? If you cut them off, if you treat them, you will not see the insecurity anymore. Because what is insecurity? Is that people are fighting, agitating for one thing or the other. So that is what is causing insecurity. So you have to go back down to look at the factors. Like there was a place I was talking about wrong empowerment, unemployment, injustice, dishonesty, insincerity of our leaders. Nobody has decided to offer service above self. People are coming into politics for what they will gain rather than to serve the people and change our society and make it better. That is what is causing insecurity. So if you're able to, if you have a good leader that people can trust, people can queue behind, you find out that this problem of insecurity will go. Both in Anambra State and in Nigeria as a whole. If you have justice today, everything will be sorted out. If you allow the poor to exist, if you allow the rich to exist within the same society, things will be well. So I think I disagree that insecurity is the fundamental issue. The fundamental issues are, as I have stated them, injustice, lack of leadership, good leadership, lack of concern to the feelings of the people, the feelings of us, of members of our society. People don't know that our life today is determinate, that you live today, tomorrow you will die. So instead of knowing that there's a level of accumulation of wealth where you decide to redistribute, you continue to accumulate without thinking that tomorrow you can die, and all these things will be, wasted effort. So why put so that the society will be happy and there won't be any insecurity anymore?
Okay. Anambra State has a very high rate of male school dropout. That is, some boys will enroll in school. They may only manage to finish secondary school, or they may not even finish secondary school, then they stop. Either they go and learn some trade or become more boy or go into other things. Do you see that as a problem in the state? And if you do, how would you intend to solve it?
No, when you said they are dropping out of school, I don't know whether you actually carried out any research to support that position. But when I was President General of OCA, we did something in 2014. We wanted to find out how many people were enrolled in a particular year in the past, and how many people eventually graduated. I mean, taking OCA as an example, we equally confirmed that if you have 100 people, 100 students at going into secondary school, a junior, that's what they call now GSS, that by the time they are getting to SS3, 40%, up to 60% will have dropped. So I agree with you that there is high rate of, dropping out of school in Anambra State. Now, we equally research into the reasons why it is so. Poverty, I mean, we realized that poverty was one of the problems causing the students to drop. Some of them don't have somebody to support them. And we're looking at public school. Our research was, we use public schools. That's government school, properly defined. They could not pay their school fees. The second reason why they were dropping out was change in value system. In Anambra State today, if you don't have money, you are nobody. That is not what we had when we were growing up. Yes, we know that having money is good, but it was never a do or die affair to have money. It was never that way. During my time, education was what everybody, was going for as an important effort in our lives that you have to be educated. It is only when you're educated that you can liberate yourself from ignorance. It is only when you're educated that you know your right from your left, up to a level, apart from native intelligence. But today, due to the fact that, I don't know how old you are now, a young man of 18, 20 will see you, he will like the kind of vehicle you are using. And he want to ride that vehicle today. So knowing fully well that you have to spend time in school. Our children today don't want to spend that level of time, that number of years going to school. So they want to be like you because they realize that, or they feel that the importance, the weight of you in the society is because you are riding a very big car, you have a very fine duplex.
So if I may ask at this point, so in your program, do you have a plan to reduce that high rate of male school enrollment? Because according to research, the dropout rate is often highest at SS2 and SS3. And the research I saw that they say in the zone by zone is highest around Ogidi, Idemili area, and they move down to Newi area as well. Then a lot of other areas you mentioned, where once the boys reach SS3, SS2, they drop, they wouldn't go on to university. So do you have a plan to reduce the rate at which our boys stopped going to school from SS2 and SS3 to encourage them to go on to university?
Yes, any government that cannot solve that problem should not be there. So I have a plan, a very big one for that matter. Take, for instance, it will be compulsory through free education that every Anambrian must have at least school certificates. Now, that's one. Two, if, for instance, you know that at the point of graduation, you get a job, you'll be employed, you'll be encouraged to stay in school and graduate. So the problem of unemployment is key to every development in our society, especially in Anambra State. Because what they say as economy is, look, go to school now. After when you come out, where do you have the work? Where do you get the work to do? So we must look at free education and also employment.
How do you create the jobs? It's good, yeah. Creating jobs is very, very important. Do you have a plan for creating jobs for them?
As I talk to you, I call myself a job creating machine. As an individual, that is what I call myself, a job creating machine. Because we can create as many jobs as is possible. So it's possible. In every area you looked at now, you can see a level of activities that can generate employment in every sector of our economy, both here in Anambra State and elsewhere. That's why I run an accounting firm. I employed. I have diversified because somewhere along the line, I had to diversify. Either that people think that they cannot, that is no go area. You create something there and mobilize our youth. So if I'm doing this as an individual, and many other entrepreneurs in Anambra State, like I told you before, if these guys know that you are good, that you are focused, and you are human, like one of my, this thing is humanity first, that human beings is your first port of call to develop demand. I am one of them, one of those that believe that we have to develop demand before the infrastructure. Because if you have infrastructure everywhere and nobody to man them over the years, they will waste. So you develop the man. When I say the man, I mean man and woman. So that you probably will understand that I'm gender sensitive.
Exactly.
You develop man and woman, but I want you to know that when I say man, I'm looking at man and woman. So there are so many things to do. Getting to governance is work. It's not pleasure. And like we were taught, you don't mix work with pleasure. So immediately you become the governor of Anambra State or any other state in Nigeria. Know that you are there to work. Everything in you as a human being must come to bear in service of the people, must come to bear in your vision and in your development of the state. It is only that will be doing the work that is required of you as a man.
All right, we thank you, sir. Anambra State, I learned yesterday from another aspirant that Anambra State is one of the smallest states in Nigeria in landmass, bigger only than Lagos. So, but it's still lacking an infrastructure. Let me put, even though they are not doing badly when compared to Anambra, when compared to other states. But according to what Anambra State is able to do you feel that the state already has enough infrastructure, or is there room for development?
You know, how do I put this into you so that you properly understand me? Capacity and capabilities of individual are not the same. It is wrong in the first place to compare Anambra State with any other state. We are not doing well. Because you look at the potential that you have, the human assets that you have, your ability to deploy them, to unbundle them to development requires a lot of planning, a lot of thinking, a lot of visioning. So we have not developed 1/3 of our capacity. Forget about what other people are doing. We have not developed at all. Because if a child, a newly born child cannot walk, cannot talk, and you have a man, a full-fledged man who is developed, who can read and write, and is equating himself to that baby, that is not a very bad comparison.
So what do you plan to do about this? So what do you plan to do? So what do you plan to do about the undeveloped infrastructure in Anambra State? What's your plan?
Is to develop them.
How?
By bringing resources, partnering with, like I have told you something, and you have to note what I'm telling you. I have told you that you have people outside this environment who are prepared to come down physically or invisible, through bringing in funding some projects. But they don't want to do that unless there is somebody they trust, there's somebody they know that have the interests of the people at heart. So there is a resource. The first thing is to tackle, to increase our revenue base, both internally and externally. Because if you have the funds, there are so many things to do. We have not developed. Look at Anambra State. I was talking to somebody last time who were looking at so many things that can be done. If you travel out, it's a dream of everybody to make Anambra State like one of the advanced countries. There's nobody that will come to aspire to become the governor of Anambra State, who probably will want Anambra State, or who will not want Anambra State to be as developed as any advanced country or any advanced state in other countries of the world. I don't know of any such person. We are Igbos, first and foremost. And development is part of us. An Igbo man abhors laziness. He abhors undevelopment. So the critical thing is to harness the resources available and channel it to that level of development that place Anambra State, on the world map.
Okay, we thank you very much, sir. To our listeners, we remind them once again that our guest tonight is Dr. Amobi Nwokafor, an APC Governorship Aspirant in the APC, Anambra State. My next question will be, you talked about developing our revenue base. Our listeners may be wondering, what is the idea of Anambra State in the past, maybe average monthly revenue generated internally in Anambra State? I don't know whether you have made a research in that area. Do you have the figure?
No, the figures are not correct. So I abandoned that because, the figures are not correct because there are a lot of leakages. There are a lot of loopholes. So the figures we are having today are not correct. So, and I can't work with the figures that I know that are not correct. I can't quote them. They're not correct. If you are take for instance, how much do you develop? How much do you get from Onitsha market, for instance? How much are you sure that 50% of what you get, what that is accruable from Onitsha market is reflected in the figures that you have? So I attempted to do that kind of research. I realized that, look, the figures are not agreeing because they are not correct. What we have been told that we have been generated is wrong. So that's part of the reason why I'm telling you that you need somebody that understands life, that understands that the importance of our living today is our ability to contribute to the growth of the society. And I call that level of service above self, knowing fully well that for your life, for the number of years you have to live on earth, what do you really need? People accumulate so much without knowing, or if knowing fully well, they are greedy.
So if the figures are not correct, how do you intend to block the leakages so that the government will get what should be accrued to the state coffers monthly?
First of all, you yourself have to be disciplined. And you have to be knowledgeable in the areas where this revenue is supposed to come from. You have to be creative. You have to get people who understand the passion you have for human development and raising human standard in our world. You put them, people who believe in you, people who believe in God, people who believe that what is important to them will be what they're leaving behind after them. Like I said before, life is determinate. You see, you must work to leave something that will be remembered for. Because the what you are accumulating up and everywhere you go, you accumulate money, you accumulate wealth, that, and so on. That is less. That is less. What is important is get the proper people, get people who are knowledgeable. Like one of the interviews I had, I told them, for you to have a good government in Anambra State, you must have a very good foundation. You must have a very good workforce who understand that they have to earn their living, they have to earn good salary. I talked about civil service reform. That is the foundation. Go back to the instruments, to those rules and regulations. Go back to the setup of our civil service system and review them. If you're able to get the civil service working properly, the way they should work, the way they should function, that is almost 50% of blocking the leakages.
We thank you very much, sir. At this point, I'm willing to take questions from our listeners. You can either raise your hand by using your device or type out the question on the chat room. I will find it, then I'll ask the question. I'll also check where we are streaming it live on Facebook to see if there is any question there. Now, may I ask also, sir, Anambra State should be an oil producing state. We have an Orient Oil Company. We don't know whether it's still functioning. How do you intend to make sure that Anambra State is an oil producing state, not only in word, but also in actual fact?
You know, that is one of the sad stories of our state. And we are playing wrong politics. You know, when you look at the way our forefathers, when I mean our forefathers, I'm looking at Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, the whole of furniture, Dr. Akbara Akanibiam, and so on. They understand, when they were alive, they understood that an Igbo man needs a lot of space. They don't play narrow politics. They don't play village politics. They play the politics of Nigeria at the center. They knew that we cannot be, that we are not by nature. We are aggressive. We are not good. We can't be good opposition. So the first thing we have to do is to go back to national politics. And that is probably one of the reasons why, the main reason why I joined APC is to play the politics at center and correct the wrongs that and mistakes that are everywhere visible today in our environment. Now, Anambra State themselves cannot declare Anambra State an oil producing state based on the structure Nigeria is running today. You need that pronouncement by the federal government. So you need to be at the center. You need to have to conversation. You have to have conversation. You have to negotiate. You have to have dialogue. And you have to now lay down your proposals, your demands. Part of that demand will be that Anambra State should be an oil-producing state properly defined. We were told that it's a strategic reserve. How many years do you have to reserve it? Is it up to the point that oil has become worthless?
Useless.
that useless, that you want to reserve it. So our people should be vision. They should be able to see vision like prophets. What can happen tomorrow? So in order to harness, in order to get what we want, we should not play politics of exclusion. We must play politics of involvement. All right. Politics of full participation at the federal government level.
Thank you very much, sir.
APC today, the ruling party, we must join APC, all of us. That is the only time we are thinking right.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Amobi Nwokafor, APC Governorship Aspirant in Anambra State. The first question is coming from Mazi HTM. Okay, Mazi, can you please unmute yourself?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Nwokafor. And thank you, Dan, for another opportunity to have a discussion with our governors, would-be governors. So, thank you. My first question goes like this. You've talked so much about people, but you're not quite specific how to get people involved in your administration. How do you go about that, getting people involved in your administration? And the next question is, what is your vision, 5-year vision and 10-year vision for Anambra State? Thank you.
Okay. You are one of the people. So if I become governor, I will look for you. Now, people are bound by training and by specialization. So they're available. They're available everywhere. You have people in Nigeria, you have people outside Nigeria. I have operated within Nigeria. So when I say people, I understand that I'm talking about people who are capable of driving the vehicle with me. People who are properly trained, who are properly prepared from their antecedents. You see that they are prepared. They are abound everywhere. But some of them, for one thing or the other, may not have been heard or may not have been seen, because each successive government will want to employ friends. They don't seek for this kind of people we are talking about. People who have labored over the years to prepare themselves for leadership, who are specialists in one area or the other. There are a lot of them. It depends on your policy trust. That determines the kind of people you look for. They're everywhere, including you, and including the guy that is anchoring this program. These are the kind of people I'm talking about. Now, my vision, 10 years, 5 years, as a matter of fact, that is the kind of question I always ask myself. If I become governor of Anambra State, how do I see Anambra State in the next 5 years? In the next 10 years? Any governor who does not think like that does not have any reason to seek for vote of any Anambrian to become governor. So it is easier said than done. But for the benefit of your question, I can tell you, just take a well-developed economy. You modify. You see, because that is the only way. Like I told you again, I want to see Anambra State where we can feed ourselves. It's fundamental. I ran a program in December, 11 December 2020. That program, we were looking at agriculture. We brought every food item on the table, and I was raising each item up. I brought up a basket of tomatoes. We eat tomatoes. I asked them, over 1,000 plus indigenous of Anambra State attended that program. Every damn thing on that table was not produced by us. We were importing them from other states. So in the next few years, in the next 5 years, 10 years, I want to see Anambra State, that if Anambra State is locked up, I want to see Anambra State locked up and is surviving within. I want to see Anambra State where all the monies we are generating, it does not leave Anambra State, that is returned. And how do you do that? By creating chains of industries, by creating chains of production, so that if you are gifted in craft and you are working on basket, you don't need to go to anywhere to get the palm front or the materials you use to making basket. You see your neighbor who will supply that material, so that if you produce and sell within and outside Nigeria, outside Anambra State, you still need the money to buy from within. But what we are doing today is that we are importing from every state. So my dream of Anambra State is such that, look, if Anambra State is locked up today, can we survive? Everything that will make us to survive in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years will be done. Take that as an example, as a goal.
Okay, well, thank you very much, sir. A question we have seen in the chat room says, how do you intend to deal with the problem of ghost workers in the civil service? Do you know whether there are ghost workers in Anambra State Civil Service? And if there are, how do you intend to deal with them, sir?
You know, when people ask these kind of questions, then you find out that we have a long way to go. Now, people say there are ghost workers. First of all, we have to ascertain that there are ghost workers. But again, I look at how do you solve the problem? Having ghost workers have become a problem. How do you solve them? You start going back to the reasons why you have ghost workers. Because if you're able to, let me tell you, ghost workers is part of the leakages we're talking about. So what is causing them? People feel that they're not well paid. So they need to augment their salary by cheating. And that is when they start creating fictitious names that are not there.
So are you promising to increase the salary of the Anambra State civil servants?
If you reform the civil service and make everybody to work and earn big salary, that is up to a level enough to cater for their immediate needs. And when I talk about needs, I'm not talking about desires. I'm talking of needs, basic needs. It is my dream to pay the highest salary in Anambra, in the Southeast civil service. So I will make them work. I have been a private sector. I have been driven by private sector. So I can safely claim that I'm a private sector person. So you have to find a mix between private sector and public sector that will work at maximum. That is the only time you move forward.
Okay,
so
we thank you, sir.
Talking about
okay, go ahead.
Is to look at the things that is causing the things that are causing the prevalence of ghost workers and remove them. If you remove them, there won't be anything like ghost worker.
All right. We thank you. I'm looking at our Facebook page. People feel that one of the problems we are facing in the Southeast is the problem of Fulani herdsmen. How do you see it as a problem? And if you do, how do you intend to deal with it? And then we'll start rounding up in the next 3 minutes. Fulani herdsmen, sir.
That's it's a very difficult one. Very difficult because we are operating one Nigeria. So I believe the issue of herdsmen. As a growing child in Oka here, we have them. We used to have those herdsmen. They were not what they used to be today. So the first thing is to find out, why is it happening today? What is the motive? Is it real motive? Or is it, do we have people who deliberately are causing this problem? And why is it so? So again, we come back to what I talk about when I talk about conversation, negotiation, and dialogue. The Southeastern governors are already tackling this matter. They have made a lot of announcements. So it is unfair to start asking people who are aspiring to succeed them to comment on this matter, because it's a topical issue. As an Igbo man, we are first an Igbo man before you are in Nigeria. So what our leaders are doing today, let's watch it and see. Wherever they stop, if you come in,
okay, sir.
We expand it and they sort it out.
Okay, we are seeing hands. Mr. Raymond Obi, please. What's your question, sir?
Yes, good evening, sir. Good evening, Mr. Moderator. Thank you,
Mr. Raymond, if you don't mind, will you please, if you can sit up, that would be very nice. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
The young man wants to relax.
You know, after the whole rating, so that's why we're looking for somebody who will help us and make it better for us. Thank you, sir. I have listened to you. I mean, but I have a bit of concern, sir. You have outlined what you want to attain or achieve for us, but there's still a missing link, and I've been trying to get that wow factor from everything you have been saying. I might sound a bit harsh, but drastic situations need drastic solutions. And as much as we're in like it's kind of like a do or die thing. We are not at this moment trying to caress ego or encourage, you know, I don't want to use the word derogatorily, like falsity, or yeah, we just want somebody. We don't care what party he belongs to. I'm not in a party. I mean, I don't want to vote partisan. I'm trying to see the individual that can turn things around for us. I mean, first as a state. Yeah. So I listen to the people, and I've been trying to get the wow factor. Something I gained yesterday. I mean, from what I've been, there is need for yes, practicality and experience politically, and as well entrepreneurially. I have been trying to see that mix in you. Yes, technocratically, but I mean, you said to us that you see yourself as a job creator. I want to believe that you run a firm and you firm a firm of chartered accountants. Yeah, to me, that is not enough to be quoted as somebody who creates job. I thought rather that I'd have seen that replicated in several areas. First, in your locality. Secondly, in your local government. Third, the state, in the state as a whole, and everywhere you live or represent, where you reside in. Now, that is a statement from you. And listening to you, yes, you have degrees, you have qualifications, but yet I am trying to see how that I need translation. At this moment, we have heard what I can term to be rhetorics. People come and speak. People sell you what they want to say. Yes, but there's also the necessity to show us how you want to translate.
Yes. So if you can please ask your question directly, sir, so that we will move on.
How do you turn it around? Security, you told us, you just answered down now that it's there's a statement you made, I don't want to misquote it, and that is a difficult one or something in that nature or that direction. You said that. So that to me is there's a solution really for that. You said you would dialogue with the Fulani headsmen that you saw growing up in your neighborhood and wearing as cantankerous as they are now, or troublesome. Now that's to us, there's a solution from you. Economically, I was waiting to see how you were going to create the industries or what will make us self-sufficient. We're known to be self-sufficient. And if that can be done in harsher environments where we have seen ourselves in, if as an enclosure, how do we make that and build upon what we are seeing? We're known to be, for example,
we thank you, Raymond.
Nigeria.
We thank you. I think you've got your question now. Yeah, how do you translate? Yeah, how do you translate your ideas into?
Yeah, you depend on people abroad. The people abroad or wherever they might be don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, right. We thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
You know, I used to be like Raymond. Until recently, I decided to join the race. There are so many things that cannot be said in this meeting. Like, you know, it's supposed to be a 1 hour thing. And there are written and unwritten vision that you have. The important thing is for somebody to develop oneself, to be developed. I have said that we acquire education for liberation. to be liberated from ignorance, from darkness to light. I have equally said, mere acquisition of certificates without ability to without ability to transform them to something is useless. So I don't really think that the young man got all the things I said. Take for instance, unemployment, security. I said security is a manifestation of something wrong in the society. I listed them. That if you sort out those things, it's practical. I told you, I talked about injustice. I talked about greed. I talked about people who are not prepared to put service above self. I talked about dishonesty and things like that. These are things, inequality. These are things that are causing insecurity. That if I become governor, I will tackle this problem of insecurity from the root causes. It is only when you're able to do that that you stop the, you make the environment secure. When you get people properly and are earning their living, who do you think will have time to go about the street, stealing, robbing people, killing people, and things like that? They have better things to do. That is how it was in the past. Now, I want to talk about partnership. That you have to have a mix of private sector and public sector, where you maximize the productivity of the state. Now, we have people that are resident in Anambra State and outside Anambra State. Anybody that is not in Anambra State is external. If somebody is living in, let's say in Kebbi, it's not in Anambra State. It's as somebody, it's just that it's within Nigeria. It's as somebody in South Africa. It's equally as somebody in America. So development of this state cannot be left only in the hands of people living in Anambra State. That was why I was talking about talking to our people within and outside. So the issue of herdsmen, we have lived with them before now. They were not like this.
All right. Okay. All right. So let's take the last two questions so that we'll call it a day. You have we know you have a very busy schedule. Dr. Hyginus Nnamdi, please, can you ask your question? The guy in Infinite Note 7, you have to rename your device or tell me your name on the chat room. I will rename it for you to ask your question. Dr. Hyginus Nnamdi, are you able to ask your question now before we call it a day? Dr. Hyginus Nnamdi. The guy on Infinite Note 7, what's your name, please? You can unmute yourself and tell me your name, and then we round up. Please, our listeners know that after in a few minutes, we round up, and then we have our normal 15 to 30 minutes chat about what we learned or any other topical subject before we leave, after our guest may have left, unless he decides to stay. Infinite Note 7, I have asked you to unmute. Please do so. Dr. Anedo, unmute. I have asked you to unmute. If you're not able to unmute yourself, right. Dr. Anedo, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir, for availing us the opportunity for availing us the opportunity to interface with you. You've spoken so well, and we really appreciate your desire to govern our state, our great state. My first question for me is very simple. Because from their introduction, when questions, the first lead questions were asked, you said you entered APC in 2017. And as you rightly said, every human being is a political animal. But I want to ask you, what is this ideology in APC that attracted you to enter APC from among all the political parties that exist in the country? That's my first question. Secondly, for the want of time, we know that education is a process through which knowledge, skills, and attitudes and values are impacted in individuals to bring a change in a given society. Governance is a continuum, and I know that since 1999, we have had different government that have existed in our state. Is there anyone that you can adjudge to near what you have as a vision and mission for Anambra State? And what are the gaps that you would like to bridge so that we can get it right at the level which everybody in Anambra State will be happy with the government in power at any given point, like if by the grace of God, God gives you the opportunity to rule us. I think I will stop at this place. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I must tell you that no question is simple. It depends on the mindset of the person asking that question. For your number one question, the ideology, that is the attraction to APC. Now, I have been outside, I have not been part of political movement before now. I have equally identified that I realized that there's no major political, there's no ideological difference between all these political parties. Because the people that you see today in the PDP are the people you see in ABGA, the same people you see in ADC, the same people you probably see in APC. So I rounded it up that it is the individual that makes the difference. If you are looking at ideology, you get it wrong. Take, for instance, ABGA, that with so much love, was meant to be a gathering of Ndibo, a platform for Igbos to negotiate Nigeria, a vehicle through which the Igbos will see other components of the country. So everybody supported ABGA. As of today, where is ABGA? ABGA derailed from that original concept to now become a one-party state in the Southeast. So for somebody, like as you know what I said at the opening, I said, look, we were, as in the Igbo, we cannot be opposition in this country. We have not played it. From day one, we are part of Nigeria and part of the drivers of the country, economically and otherwise. Now, look at PDP. With all the passion, with all the love we have for PDP, for the 16 years they were in government, they did nothing for Igbo. I cannot, I'm from Anambra State, which you know very well. I cannot point at anything now in Anambra State and say, look, PDP government did that. Nothing, nothing. APC, to the best of my knowledge, so far, is tackling some of the challenges we're having in the Southeast. And the APC today is their center of governance. So why should we avoid joining a political party at the center and be at the table where decisions are made? Discussions negotiations, conversations, where differences are settled. Why should we avoid such a table? I said, look, for me, I must go back to the way we were taught politics, which have not been proved wrong so far in Nigeria, that we must play politics at the center, at the national level. So that is the attraction I have for APC. Apart from the fact that they are working, they are doing the work that all the works that were left undone, we have been now gradually being tackled by APC. APC is just like an individual. You have strong points and you equally have weak points. So you strengthen the strong points and work on the weakness to become a solid party.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amobi Nwokafor. Our last question for you tonight will be, how do you rate your chances of clinching the nomination of your party, APC, in Anambra State? That's number one. And number two, how do you rate the chances of APC in general of winning the Anambra State governorship election?
Yes, I have a very good chance of winning the party ticket because of who I am and my preparedness to serve. Look at APC, look at the material, look at the individual that are vying for APC. I mean, under APC, very strong personalities. All of us are equally qualified. What makes the difference is the hunger to serve and the ability to see tomorrow, to reposition Anambra State. That is what makes the difference between all of us. And I'm in a position to do that. APC will win Anambra State because APGA has not done well for 16 years. PDP is not there at all. So it is between APC and APGA. And mind you, APGA is a one-party state. So they have deceived Anambra for all these years. But now that all of us are becoming involved, it must shift to where the light is. It must shift to a party that has the platform to properly negotiate Nigeria and change the narratives of our people. So APC will win, whether I am the flag bearer of APC or not. Then if I become the flag bearer, it will be very easy for APC to win. It is easiest through me for APC to win.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amobi Nwokafor. You have now been speaking with us for more than 1 hour now. Thank you for bringing out time out of your very busy schedule to address us today. Not only us, you're addressing thousands of people on Facebook, on YouTube, and it will be uploaded on YouTube for many more who could not watch it live to watch it after this meeting to see what you promises to do if you become the governor of Anambra State next year. Thank you very much again for being with us tonight. We appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. To our listeners,